Char Margolis, Char Communications Incorporated, and CharVision LLC do not endorse or offer for any purpose but entertainment the views of any guest or other expert on CharVision or UBN.
I knew things before they happened from the time I was a child. At the age of 8, I saw a spirit at the foot of my bed and didn't know what it was. And in my 20s, I finally realized I had a special ability that could help others. I have learned that love never dies. There is a spirit world that can communicate with us, and we all have the gift of intuition. Join me, and together we will explore the possibilities of the unknown from beyond and more. This is CharVision. Hi, my name's Sunny, and I'm Char. Okay, that was kind of silly. Well, I have been talking to a lot of people about balance and how people can feel more grounded during all this crazy stuff that's going on in our world right now. And I have a guest later on today, and her name's Maya, and she's going to talk about how to keep us all balanced. So I'm excited for her to teach us all how to do that. But before then, I have two very interesting gentlemen with me, and one of them you all know. His name's Tony Sweet. He runs UBN, and he's a dear friend, and he's been so great for all our friends on CharVision. And we have a new gentleman here who's Tony's partner in The Truth Be Told, and his name is Captain Ron, right?
Captain Ron.
And you're a captain because...
I don't know how official any of these rankings are.
I don't salute him, by the way.
Have you ever, like... run
that
a
just
ship?
started with
Have
this
you ever run a
nonsense.
ship?
No,
have you
I
ever been on a boat?
No, no. That's the ironic part of this whole thing.
Right.
Well, it's great to have you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Of course.
And Ron told me he's from Cleveland, and I'm from Michigan. So where are you from, Tony?
Kansas.
Kansas.
Granola, Kansas.
Oh, my goodness. I have no idea where that is.
Sure you
Okay. I do?
No.
Okay, so you guys have a show called The Truth Be Told. And it is about conspiracy theories, right?
It's a combination
Basically?
of everything. It's like
Tell us about it.
Paranormal, conspiracy theory, from ancient sites, spirituality. I mean, we run the gamut of all paranormal.
Right, we talked about the moon landing today. We talked about symbolism in The Shining with Kubrick's work. We talked about, we've done shows on Roswell.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
any of these things. What's that, Georgetown? Or
Well, Jonestown.
Jonestown.
Oh,
Heaven's Gate.
those kind of things. Any sort of a fringe sort of an
So, okay, so obviously you've talked about aliens. Have you ever had encounters with UFOs?
When I was a kid, it was me, my brother, my sister, and my mother. We actually did see a UFO. At least we thought it was. So that kind of got me not really into the genre.
I've
but
seen.
Really, you have?
Yeah, I've
in Michigan.
Yeah, in Michigan, and also I don't know. I've just had weird experiences with that energy. So
Well, I was going to say, as a psychic, I mean, what is that energy like as a psychic? I mean, just as a everyday person, I know the excitement, it gets me going. But
I feel like they also communicate through thought, just like spirits do. So you have to always stay protected, because as in everyday life, there are good and bad people. In the spirit world, there's good and bad spirits as well.
Right.
So, and I'm sure there's good and bad UFO people, right?
Oh, yes, there are, and because there's multiple aliens. There's multiple dimensions. There are multiple alien types. So I mean, from humanoids to reptilians.
The culture of it.
Yeah, the Greys. Yeah, and there's every single one has their own personality and agenda when it comes to us Earthlings.
But I do believe that, well, hopefully in my lifetime, we'll see they'll tell us the truth. Because I'll tell everyone the story about Jackie Gleason that you told me in Richard Nixon.
Well, Jackie Gleason, I didn't know this until I watched.
That's supposed to be true, yeah.
That I didn't know that Jackie Gleason and President Nixon were very good friends. Mm-hmm. They met at a party, and Jackie Gleason was a drinker. I mean, big time drinker.
Okay.
And but they met at a party, and one night Jackie Gleason said that there's a car pulls up, and it was President Nixon. He was by himself, and said, "Get in the car." This was in Florida. Get in the car, and Okay, whatever, let's go. So they drive to a undisclosed location. They pull up. It's at some type of a base. The guard, one of the soldiers says, "Oh, saluted President Nixon, sir," and they drove in. They go into this bunker or this warehouse, whatever you want to call it, and they walk into a room because they used to talk about aliens together. And so they said he goes through like this plastic wall,
right?
And there's
like
these
a tent,
like a tent type of thing, and there were these alien bodies.
And did they have big eyes and
alive, right?
I can't remember if they were alive or not.
I thought.
Well, what's the story you know, Captain Ron?
Well, I thought he saw a live body, and this freaked out Gleason. And
yes,
in fact, when he
time.
died, he had a library full of every UFO alien book there was. Supposedly, there was this huge collection.
Jackie Gleason did.
Correct.
And what about Nixon?
Well, Nixon, I've never
really
heard
talked
anything
about
it other than that. That's the only place in the culture or folklore or whatever that Nixon appears that I've ever heard. But Gleason supposedly had this enormous collection, and it changed him after that, supposedly.
Changed him.
Changed his life.
Stopped
changed
dranking.
Him.
Drank
no,
more.
I don't think any of that.
Yeah.
Maybe more. But he was very.
Drank more after that one.
It was a profound effect on his life, and he became very interested in the subject matter. That's.
Because I think
away we go.
Because I think that that was a good. But I think in like President Eisenhower, Truman, Carter, Reagan, certain ones have had encounters.
Did Einstein ever talk about?
I'm not for sure if Einstein
I've never
has.
heard.
That would be interesting to study.
In the president's thing, now who knows? I mean,
that's
but what
okay.
I've heard in this
okay.
subculture of people talk about it is that Nixon was the last one that they let even know about this, probably because of this incident. Since that, nobody gets anything. They said that Clinton got in and he asked, he wants to see or know about it, and they said, don't ask again.
Maybe that's who's wiretapping the White House.
Right. Who knows? Who knows?
Anyway, okay, so in your experience, out of different conspiracy theories of paranormal, ghosts, Bigfoot, ancient sites, is there anything that stands out in your mind that you like to talk about, like at the dinner table?
No doubt. I have a very healthy skepticism. I'm not somebody that's just on board with all of these things, and that's kind of why we do the show. We want to learn. Both of us are fascinated with
And you're a little skeptic. It's good to be
I'm
a little.
a lot skeptic.
Yeah, because I said to him, "Well, where are you from?" He said, "Well, why don't you tell me?" I said, "I'll read your bio." Okay,
she
go
said
on.
she's a psychic.
I'm not a mind reader.
My most interesting part of this is like if you know what like in Baalbek, they have these 100-ton blocks. I don't know how they could have done this. They're dated like 13,000 years ago. That we have a physical thing. I mean, there's evidence. It's there. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Nobody's given me a good enough reason of how humans could have done this.
Where are
Certainly
they?
back in Baalbek, Lebanon.
Wow.
It's you could pop that on there, Tony.
Yeah, keep
it's a
talking,
famous thing. And then, like the Great Pyramid, there's a lot of different measurements and things in that.
How did they get there?
It's enormous. If you've never seen it, wait till you see the picture of it. A person seems like this big on it, and we don't know what it is. And things like that. The ancient stone monuments are my favorite area of this world.
You know what's interesting? I'm fascinated with those too.
Really?
In fact, when I went to Stonehenge, have you been there?
No, I have not.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to go.
And there's the one thing that I have found every time I've gone to a place like that. What do they call the big rocks? Something gliss. I don't know. There's
Monolith.
a name. Monolith.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So every time I've gone to a place, there's another place called the Rollright Stones near Cambridge, and or was it Oxford? No, I think it's Oxford.
Okay.
I can't remember. It's either Cambridge in England. And there's a few different places around the world like this. And the one thing that I've been told, just by my experiences, is that there have been UFOs spotted in all those places, number one. And number two, there's always like a mountain or like a man-made kind of mountain there.
Right.
And it's been said that the ships go into the mountain. Like the ships go in the mountain, like in Mount Shasta. They say that the ships go in the mountain.
Yeah.
A lot of times they think there are portals
Right.
They think that's like Stonehenge, and I've heard also they think they are like markers for like navigation. For
Well, there's a
extra-
real interesting thing if you want to look this up is that there's a band. It's like I don't know how big, but a mile or 3 miles around. It goes around the Earth. That on that point is Easter Island, the Great Pyramid.
They match.
Really?
There's like
They match up.
27 historic sites that are the famous ones,
Right.
I would love to
and
learn
they're
about
all
those.
on the exact same ribbon around the Earth. They
Is it-
all fall exactly.
Is it the Bermuda Triangle
No.
in those? No.
Nope, it's all megalithic structures.
Megalithics. Okay.
I said monolith because you were saying the Stonehenge,
Okay,
so that's
but
a monolith. But
okay.
megalithic
See,
structures,
I don't know.
there are
You're
many of these megalithic structures that are all on the same band around the Earth that line up. Now, that could be coincidence, but boy, that sure feels...
To
Well,
me, it
it's-
sounds more than coincidence.
sure
Especially
does.
for
Right.
back when it was built. Like now you can
Yeah.
understand it because you have GPS or
Right.
whatever, but
Right.
back in the back 4 or 5
They
thousand
date these
years,
13,000 years ago, sure.
you didn't have somebody up in space going, okay, move it there, move it
It
there.
feels
So
more than coincidence.
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
it just
Right.
feels that way. So that makes me think let's say there's smoke. There's not necessarily fire yet, but that certainly
right.
smells like there's something going on.
And
that they
aren't there
know.
things in the ocean as well where they found,
Underwater cities?
Oh, yeah.
and
They've-
megalith
Like-
structures?
there's tons of
like
underwater
they think
cities.
that they found the lost city of Atlantis?
Well, that's been said all over. I still don't think we have a definitive answer
Yeah.
on that. There's
They say around
many different
Crete
places.
in Greece.
Some people think that, but there are people that think Bimini or
Bimini.
Bimini. How do you say that?
Bimini, I think. is-
Bimini. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people that think it's there. There's been a lot of talk on that.
But maybe
and
it's
that's
been
tough.
in a couple places. I mean, what do we know?
Well, because
don't.
there's a lot of people when we had more psychics on the show that talk about a lot of people that past lives were from Atlantis. Have you ever met anyone? You? Oh, nice.
Really?
All right, so you tell us where it's
all
located.
CharVision
Just kidding.
people don't
Well, this
think
opens a great window.
Wait,
Nice work,
wait,
Tony.
don't see. He gets psychic.
He is.
He gets very psychic, and
People
I don't
say psycho,
usually.
but I don't. I
usually.
think it's psychic.
I don't usually talk about stuff like this because I mean it's bad enough that I talk to dead people for a living, and I want people to like respect what I'm saying. But I actually I've been regressed to past lives by Dr. Brian Weiss, by my sister Dr. Alicia Tisdale.
Who's amazing, by the way.
Dr. Brian Weiss is really amazing, and actually his daughter's going to be on my show soon. She's writing a book.
That's great.
And I've known her since she was 16. But anyway, I've been taken back to my past lives, and I was in Atlantis, and unless I mean, people, you can think it's your imagination or whatever, but I really feel that we keep coming back, and we keep getting reincarnated until we get it right. And then, I'm going to get Facebook questions. Well, if we're reincarnated, how do we talk to our loved ones in the spirit world? And how, if they're reincarnated, how can they come back and talk to us? Well, the short Cliff Note version is when you pass over to the spirit world, whoever you were, let's say you were a caveman and you hit your wife over the head and you didn't do so great, and your spirit goes to your soul. And then they recycle your soul, and then they bring out maybe a monk, and the monk maybe did some great things but didn't some not so great things. And so the monk dies, the monk goes to the soul, and then so now there's the caveman and the monk, and they recycle somebody out, and maybe it's a woman whose son ends up curing cancer or AIDS or something. So we keep coming back and coming back till we learn our life's lessons. And then it's said that eventually, hopefully, we all end up at the right hand of God, where we all can be one together in the light of goodness and in positive energy. So I do believe in past lives, and I believe I've been brought back in this life to help teach, because I was a child in that life, and I had a flying horse. Oh, I know. I'm going to lose some of my viewers right now. And I had
She
a
was a
flying
drinker, too.
horse,
No, I'm
and we were the last ones left because everything blew up. The whole continent blew up, and the horse was trying to keep me going and going and going, and then we fell into the ocean, and I drowned. But I was a child, and I was a psychic, and I was like, I guess like a priestess kind of psychic or something. I was supposed to be or something, and then the horse turned in the horse, flying horse, turned into the Pegasus, turned into a dolphin, and I went to heaven, and then I was reincarnated into, I'm not sure how many times, but and what's interesting is I was always a horse lover, always a horse lover. I went to a horseback riding camp for 10 seasons. I ended up running it. I had my own horses in my front yard. I still, really love horses. So,
are you a psychic in each one of these lives, you think?
No.
Just the way back
No,
then?
because I think my past life before this one, I was a singer in New York.
Like a lounge singer?
I don't know what kind of singer. I don't
she
know.
sings. She can still
No,
sing.
I'm not that good. But I mean, I must have been
Go
better
ahead,
then.
try something.
No,
Give us a tune.
No. I don't want to lose even more.
Okay.
We're down to 7 viewers, Tony. Let's just get this.
Folks are dumb where I come from. No, I'm teasing. Okay. So anyway, that's what one of my lifetimes was. So I know I had other ones too, but if you ever have had experiences being regressed, it's fascinating. And my sister, who's a doctor of psychology, has healed many, many people by doing this, because they can't really, like if they're having problems, like say in their marriage, and they're regressed and they go, and they find out, oh, their husband or their wife was their mother or their father in a past life, and they've been brought back together to try to heal certain things or a child. And they've been brought back in this lifetime to try to heal that relationship. Because we have soulmates, and a soulmate is someone who helps our soul to grow. What?
We heard this at the Conscious Life Expo, and it's the first time I ever heard it, that when you do this regression thing, it helps you because you're healing this hurt from before.
Right.
And remember that girl that came on our show and we talked about it. It's the first time I had heard
Well, there's some really fascinating things that my sister has come up with, and that
I had a session with your sister.
Yeah, he was regressed.
Yeah, I've never.
Show.
I believed in past lives. I never thought I could, because I'm very ADD, quote quote.
How did it affect you? Did you feel?
Here's the thing: is when I first did it, I was like, yeah, I'll do it, and when I started doing the session with your sister, in my head, I'm like, they're never going to get me. I mean, in my head, I'm like, they're never going to. But all of a sudden, I start seeing the images, and because she's so good and so patient, and just
so
the tone of her voice, it's very soothing and healing. And so I start imagining, and first, like you say, it's like psychics. Go with what you see.
It's hypnotic.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I see myself in a cottage. I see myself walking into a garden. I see myself painting. I had a wife. And then I see my painting in a palace and presented in front of I guess, royalty. I even got a name. The weirdest part was I went and looked up the name, and there was an artist by that name in England about the same time.
Okay, come on now.
That's pretty good.
Goosebumps.
I like it.
And I don't.
That's goosebumps,
it's
right?
Smoke. I like it.
Yeah, because I don't know artists. I don't know paintings. I just and then just to come up with that name, and I was just like, oh my god, this is pretty awesome.
Many people who have had experiences just like you have gone through the same process and looked up in the past and have found out that that's who they were. Brian Weiss has it all the time. My sister Alicia, Dr. Tisdale, has it all the time. So yeah, it's fascinating. And do you believe that you had a past life?
I'm very open to it.
Well,
I'm very open to it. And I have heard somebody was. I
think he was a can girl. I think
they right. They talked about that our souls, when we go up or whatever, we come back and we're with the same group. Like your wife and you come back, but that could be your dad.
Right.
Now. But you're still, those souls supposedly stay together.
So explain to me why a 4-year-old child can go sit at a piano in the middle, walking in their sleep, and play Chopin and Mozart.
Well, I don't know, but one of my guesses would be that somehow there's part of our DNA that we don't know that gets passed down through long time, that maybe it's somewhere in that code.
Well, that's possible, too. That's a good theory.
That's what I've always thought.
That's a really good theory.
But I got a better one for you. I have heard that little boy that he loved little planes. At 2 and 3 and 4, those planes, and he lined them up, and he knew all the names and all this. And then he went to a VFW where these guys were meeting, and he knew who all the guys were and which plane they drove. You drove the Tiger, and you drove this, and it was supposedly that.
I've heard that
one of the-
many times.
That guy. That's a good story.
wow.
That one's compelling to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
what
would
was-
be a good, credible thing for a reincarnation case.
Yeah, there
because
was someone.
That's
years-
harder to explain to
There
me.
was someone years ago who had sisters and brothers in England or something. Do you remember that story? Yeah, and I don't remember it exactly, but this person had a vision or knew that who she was, and went back and met all the relatives, and it was all like uncanny and phenomenal about how she knew all these things that she couldn't have known about who she was. She was reincarnated, and she was part of their family. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, you being a psychic, I'm curious about this, because we get to hear experts all the time, and,
Right.
and we're like either like, okay, this is kind of crazy, or it's like, wow, this is just outstanding. Do you still get amazed with some
I
things?
always get amazed. I get amazed when I do readings.
Really?
I've been doing it for over 40 years, and I never assume anything, and I always, I have gratitude, and I love helping people help themselves. And the other thing that really flips me out is when I do intuition retreats, and I teach people online as well to be intuitive and psychic, and how talented so many people are, because everybody has an intuition.
Right.
We all have a sixth sense. I'm sure you've had times where you had a gut feeling,
No doubt. Absolutely.
and you didn't listen and you suffered the consequences, or you did,
Again, no doubt.
or you did listen and you were grateful that you listened, right?
Absolutely.
That's because we all have that ability and that gift, and the more I teach, the more, and I'm always learning, always. I never, there's never a time where I assume I know everything, ever. In fact, if you ever have a teacher who thinks they know everything, get out, get out of Dodge.
Living in California, you hear that a lot.
Yeah, and the other thing is because I don't believe there's just one person who's the most psychic person in the world who walks on water. I don't believe that. I believe that when we work together as a team, we can answer a lot of things and healing about people. And also, I think if you go to an astrologer, a numerologist, a psychic, and maybe a psychologist as well, and get all the help you can get to help you help yourself. I think it's that there's always new things we can learn about our lives and guidance.
I feel like I'm reversing, but I'm more curious about this. Was there ever, and this is for Ron, and I'll even answer me, has there ever been a place or a site or something that you've like been compelled to go see? Like it was just constantly on your mind, where you saw it once and you felt like either you've been there before, but you had to go, like let's say Stonehenge.
That was one place I really felt like I
was
wanted to
supposed
go
to go.
Yeah. Where is it that you obviously?
Mine
you
is
have a
Machu
place.
Picchu. I really want to go.
You really wanna go.
I have never been, and also Egypt, but that Machu Picchu, I really want to go.
Those both are on my list. I mean, listen, I'd love to go, but I've never been drawn to it or felt as compelled to it or anything, other than it just interests me.
A lot of us will never be able to afford to go to Machu
Right.
Picchu.
It's
And
expensive.
the one thing that I always tell my students is that you don't have to go to Machu Picchu or Jerusalem or
To experience.
the pyramids, or to feel energy, to feel connected. When you go within yourself, we all have the power to connect. We all have the power to connect with our better self, our higher self, whatever you want to call it, and our angels and our guides to help guide us. And so, but I know that a lot of different places have interesting energies. When I was in England, I went to an old abbey, and they built those churches on ley lines. Do you know what ley lines are?
Uh-huh, absolutely.
Tell us what they are.
I don't know what they are.
Well, there's supposedly this ley lines are supposedly all over the earth, and supposedly like the pyramids are on ley lines too. There's this energy like in Coral Castle. You know about Coral Castle in
Right.
Florida, where the guy built a castle out of coral by himself.
Wow.
And he's a very little man, and he moved these giant 10-ton rocks. And supposedly it was built on these ley lines, and that energy from the earth gave him the power to lift these rocks, move them along the ley lines, and set them down. He did it all by himself, and he did it out in the middle of nowhere where nobody could see him. And that's what Coral Castle looks like.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, he built this by himself.
And nobody ever
One man
saw
built it.
him make
Nobody
it.
saw him do it. Supposedly, some guy that one truck driver supposedly saw him move the rocks. You know, that's his testimony, whatever. But Coral Castle's there. You can go visit Coral Castle now. It's a real place.
I mean, I'm not an expert with ley lines, but I know that there's it's a point where under the earth and in the sky somewhere, that's where certain energies meet. And I can tell you that when I went to this abbey and where the altar was, they said, put your hand down. And I put my hand down, and I was like maybe 2 feet off the ground, and you could feel electricity coming up on your hand. And there's also places that are like vortexes. Like, I believe that, like my home in Michigan, and that's why I love my land so much, is a vortex. Because, and I feel it was Indian land. I don't feel it. I know it as well. It was Indian land, but I feel the energy from them.
See, that's another one I'm fascinated.
And I
Native
also
American
feel
too.
like there's just different places that have special energies, like places in Palm Springs. I feel there's...
what is that place, the sound place?
Oh, no. He's talking about the Integratron.
Integratron. Isn't that a vortex?
Yeah, it probably is.
That's what I've heard.
The Integratron, you can look it up if
it's
you
been
want.
made, though, right?
Well, it was made by a man who was guided intuitively, and then a UFO person came and guided him the rest of the way to make this dome place into a time machine. And so there it is.
That's a little tougher to believe,
but I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been there several times. In
Hugh
fact,
Hauser went there too.
anyone who did he?
Yeah.
Anyone who comes to my retreats goes there. And
Didn't Howard Hughes have something to do with that too?
Who?
Howard Hughes.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
Hugh
know.
Hauser.
But some
That's
guy
his
named
name.
Hugh
George.
Hauser.
He was there.
Some guy named George something built it. But it's really fascinating because when you're up on top, you see the top of the dome. Inside, it's wooden. And if you are on one side of on one side of the poles, and then you whisper to someone all the way over on the other side, they can hear you, but no one else can. And the way the acoustics are, did you see that ceiling thing? Like there's the ceiling, and then there's also a hole that goes all the way down in the middle. And when you whisper, and you really whisper like this, and no one can hear you, but you echo like you're in a chamber.
But nobody can hear you.
Nobody else can hear you. It's
That-
fascinating.
It's designed so that the acoustics will travel
It's
over
fascinating.
To the,
But it did say it was funded by Howard Hughes.
Oh, it was?
look
There
at
you go.
See?
See?
Good job.
He's amazing.
I'm not as dumb as I look.
Yeah, far from it. And so whenever I've gone there, and you see how you lay on those little
mats.
beds, those mats. Whenever I've gone there, I've always had incredible experiences. Like, I've seen the future for myself, and I also, boy, I'm doing a good commercial for you guys, Joanne, over there. And also, my parents have visited me when I've
really?
been there. Yeah, but everybody has it now. Some people get healed. Like when my sister went, her hand was bothering her. Her hand was much, much better, and her back was better.
That's what I need.
Yeah, I mean, and I have gone there, and if my neck was bothering me or my back, it was much better. So there's something about the energy there. Something. It's fascinating.
All I know is for the people, you need to make reservations because I went out thinking, I'm just going to go in.
Oh, no, you have to
make reservations.
You have to
like
make
months.
them way ahead of time.
Like months in advance.
Way ahead.
Equally fascinating, I think. It's a bold move to sit there and hold the dog, and while you're talking, and it's saying very interesting things to me, and the dog is falling asleep.
Oh, every
That's
time.
been the wrong message to the
Every
audience. I mean, is that-
Every time.
It's like,
Yeah, it's like,
I would quit doing that. It's like, here she goes.
Well, you know why? Because he's feeling the energy, and I'm tiring him out. He
Yeah.
had a long day. We taped a show earlier today. He's had a long day.
He does that every time. He just gets really relaxed.
No, you're not boring him. Don't worry. He likes you. He likes
It's
both
okay.
of
I
you.
fall asleep every time he talks on our
Now
show.
see, I don't want to open that can of worms.
When's your birthday?
October 4th.
Oh, so another Libra. Yeah, Libra.
Oh yeah, and I am a true Libra. I'm very balanced and very.
That's
Everybody
good.
settle down.
He's the
Keep it fair.
scales. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I am
Yeah,
that.
that's cool. Tony's a Sagittarius.
I'm a Sagittarius.
And I'm a Leo.
We love Leos. My daddy.
Aw,
That's my daddy.
So sweet.
Good peeps.
Well, thanks. I don't know if all of us are,
Well,
but
I'm sure
anyway.
some of
So, and then the other thing is, have you ever had any experiences with ghosts?
I've never had anything like that. No.
Never.
Well, you're just boring. No, just
I am
kidding.
very boring. I'm very interested in this subject, but I've never had anything like that, and that's even tougher to me. It's easier to make the leap to alien because it's like technology and maybe they flew. That's easier.
Well, what do you think happens when we die?
I don't know, but I do think that it's possible that the soul thing goes up somewhere, and we come back. That's very possible. But coming back as the ghost thing and re-seeing that, I don't know. That seems, again, all the stuff you see online is very thin, the evidence, I think.
See, that's why he's a healthy skeptic.
I'm healthy. I'm open to it, and if you show me something really compelling, I like it. But
Did you ever hear the story about Telly Savalas?
Mm-mm.
He was, his car broke down on some deserted road, and a man with a pickup truck finally came and helped him out, and he got the guy's name and number, and some months, a few months later, he decided he wanted to thank the man, so he calls the number, and the woman says, he asked for the guy, and the woman says, "No, I'm sorry, he's not here." And he said, "Well, I really wanted to talk to him and thank him because he just helped me a few months ago."
He
and
died a long time ago.
He died a few years ago.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a story that Telly Savalas always told.
that's good. I like that.
I saw, like I said, I saw a ghost when I was a kid.
Did you really? Well, you saw a UFO and a ghost. Look at you.
I
Did you
used to see
Bigfoot?
an old man. Well, my dad, or maybe it was my mom. I can't remember. But I did see a UFO. I mean, a ghost when I was a
Tell
kid.
us that.
In
Where
my
was that?
well, it was just my house. I think it was an old man that built the house. It was built by a banker. And years later, I mean, because my mom still remembers. She goes, "I remember you used to talk about it." And we used to hear like doors and walking and stuff all the time.
That's
you know,
interesting.
we thought, it's an old
I've
house.
seen spirits since
Yeah.
I was a little kid.
You have.
Yeah.
Now, my brother says that he has a little boy that he sees that walks up to his television and tries to change the channel.
Oh, really?
Who's your brother?
He's like 40,
Wow.
but he's seen that, and he's...
Since he was little, or
No, he saw this he moved into a new place, and he saw it for over a course of a year, and then it went away. But he saw the same image all the time. It was just a little boy. I said, "Did it scare you? Did it freak you out?" He said,
Why-
"No, like the first time a little bit, but then it just happened, and he just..."
Why would that happen? Why would like a
Well,
spirit
maybe
come just for a
maybe
short
the
period
little
of
boy
time?
died in that house or something, and maybe the little boy still lives there.
But why would he come for a short period of time and then not?
Yeah, they went away. This was 10 years ago, and Robbie still lives there.
That's
I
kind
don't know.
of
Maybe his spirit decided to elevate to another dimension
yeah, maybe. That's very
because
strange.
maybe his job was to show your brother that he existed, to tell you about it, so you could talk on the show about it.
See? I have
So
something.
you,
Something.
so you could be the skeptic,
See, it could be
and
that.
your brother could be the one who believes. And I mean, you love your brother. You believe your brother, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So maybe
That
one
sounded
day I'm going to
convincing.
have to read for Captain Ron. But you guys, I really appreciate you being here, both of you.
Oh, of
And-
course,
and
it's
this
our
was
pleasure.
So much fun.
It's an honor for
really
being
so
on
much
Char
fun.
Show.
Yeah, I love you guys so much. And anybody at home, if you've seen a ghost, I want to hear about it. So Facebook us and tell us what experience you've had seeing a ghost, because you're not crazy. You're not crazy. A lot of people have had this experience, and a lot of people believe in the spirit world. So don't go away, because we're all going to learn how to get more balanced. Maya's here. If you like what you've seen on CharVision, then go to char.net and book a personal reading with me, or join a group reading, or join one of my workshops where I teach you to be psychic and intuitive. If you like what you've seen on CharVision, then go to char.net and book a personal reading with me, or join a group reading, or join one of my workshops where I teach you to be psychic and intuitive. Hi, everybody. We're back, and Maya Rasak. Rasak, sorry. That's okay. Maya Rasak is here. And I actually met Maya at the expo, and I ended up reading for you, which I had no idea you were such a gifted healer when I met you at first. So I'm thrilled to have you here. I've got your book, Transformational CPR. Yeah. And it says here that you're a board-certified licensed psychotherapist, author, yoga, meditation teacher, seminar leader, and corporate coach. Wow. It's a mouthful. It is, and you do a lot of things. I do a lot. And you also work with Tigo TV.
I do.
And
That's fairly new.
And what is the magazine called?
Heal Magazine.
Heal Magazine.
I write a column for Heal Magazine now.
Yeah, they're great people over there.
Really terrific.
Teresa and I don't know the rest of them.
And Rain.
Yeah, they're really. You're going to hear more about them in the future, you guys. So, but okay. So I promised our Char visionaries that you would talk about balance, because you're an expert with balance, right?
Yes.
And how important it is, because I watched your video this morning, and I loved it, because I don't know if you know it, but I had music composed to balance chakras, and I'll give you one of my CDs. I don't have one with me right now,
great.
But I'll give you one of my CDs. But I want to know, I want you to give the advice that you gave to everybody on that video about what you do in the morning and all that stuff. Okay.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, I think balance has become just incredibly important, even more so now today with, technology and all the things coming at us and the pace that we're living at.
It's like you turn on the news every day and it's like a terrorist is coming after you.
I mean, it's gotten out of control. So I think balance has become even more important. So for me, I think it's just our culture. It's almost like an ADD culture. So that need for balance and grounding. And so my routine in the morning, and I like morning because I'm a morning person.
Right.
But you don't have to be a morning person. It's more really before you go out into your day and start greeting people and working, I think it's really important to take some time. Everybody, it's different, but I would say, like, if you can't eat, minimum of 10 minutes is what I tell people. Because people, I don't have time,
You make time.
You know what? That's it right there. That's the key. Because if you don't make that the priority before you step out into the jungle, it really affects your entire day. And so taking those 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever you can afford, to really go inside and to get quiet and to get anchored in your own being. So that is, for me, like number one. My routine is the first thing I do is I wake up and I have a strong meditation practice that took me many years to cultivate, but once I did.
And what do you do? Can we ask what you do?
I do TM, and that was the first thing that actually worked for me.
Transcendental meditation.
I do. So I do 20 minutes, and I have a mantra, and it's the easiest meditation there is for somebody with an incredibly active mind.
And what is it? What do you do?
The greatest part is it's not, you don't have to like sit upright, erect. You don't have to do any mudras or sit on a cushion. It's really, you sit in a relaxed position.
Right.
And you have a mantra that you use as a tool to transcend thought. So you don't stop thinking. The average person has 60,000 thoughts a day. So you don't stop thinking when you meditate.
Whoa.
So thoughts come up, and when you're aware that you're having a thought, you simply notice and then just gently guide your awareness back to the mantra.
When people wake up in the morning, do you think that most people are in a good mood, a bad mood, have fear, have anxiety?
That's a great question. I don't know that there's a blanket statement, but I would say in today's times, after the election and what's going on in our political system and what's going on just all over the world with, as you said, terrorist, attacks and whatnot, and technology.
The threats. It's everything is like fear-based.
Everything is,
It's not right.
In my practice, people come in mostly in fear, worry, doubt, anxiety,
Oh, wow.
depression.
Oh, no.
As I can add. So I really think there's quite a bit of stress and worry about the future, anxiety about not being able to stop thoughts.
Right,
obsessive
because
thoughts,
it's you turn on the
negative
TV and they're
thinking.
talking about they're going to change your health care.
Yeah.
They're going to deport your loved one. They're
Yes.
going to...
It's constant. So there's a whole, I'm a big advocate of the Course in Miracles, and it's, according to the Course, which I truly believe this, is there are only two things, there's no such thing as a neutral thought. So it's either a thought that comes from love or a thought that comes from fear.
So in your meditations that you do in the morning, it helps you bring the positive energy around you.
It helps me redirect my mind, which I have, anyone out there who thinks they have an active mind, I was probably like the most ADD teenager,
But you're creative. That's because you're creative.
I'm creative, but it's difficult. I had to learn how to channel the energy, and that took me a lot of years. And I think that's yoga and meditation that really helped me learn to really channel my energy. So channeling, like for example, I use meditation as a metaphor for life, because again, anytime a thought comes up, we just notice. And it's not like you try to suppress the thought or deny the thought or pretend it's not there. Just notice, but then we're in charge. We get to decide, is that thought really serving me in this moment? And most of the times the answer is no. It's usually a thought that will agitate the mind.
So how do you get your patients to
Guide
change?
your awareness back to the present moment. I give a lot of people a mantra that says, now I am blank, period. To use that throughout your day. So
Now
every
I
time,
am...
Now I
Give me an
am
example.
talking to Char. Now I am drinking out of my CharVision cup.
Good commercial.
Right? That was for you.
Thank you.
Now I am picking up my book to, but for example, it's just bringing us back to the present. It's constantly guiding our awareness back to the present, which is back to our center, which is where we started in the morning.
So it's in the now.
It's in the now, which
So
is
it's
the
so
only
hard
place.
for so many of
Yeah.
us to be in the now when there's so much going on.
Yes, for most people they think it's hard, but it's actually more difficult to not be present. It takes more effort to be worrying about the future or regurgitating
I get
the
my
past.
I get visions about my own life when I'm in the now. Like
I bet you
like
do.
the other day, I was in the bathtub and I saw a vision of my car. And I called up Nikki, my assistant, and I said, I'm going to take my car over to Norm's and have them hoist up the car because, I don't know, something's not right. And I went to start my car and the battery was dead.
Oh no.
But my angels and guides literally showed me my car in the bathtub.
Wow.
But I was in the moment, in the now.
moment. And the whole idea of, people say, well, why do we need to be in the now? Like, what's the purpose, or why does that? But the whole idea of, the book, the transformational CPR was, a model of, consciousness, presence, receptivity. It's like to become aware when we're not present serves us, because when we can catch ourselves caught in a story of either future or past, the awareness alone sometimes can just bring us back to the present.
You're making me... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Or I have a lot of techniques to bring people back to the present. But once
Like
we
what?
get,
What's another technique?
so a lot of breathing. Breathing is one of the fastest, quickest ways back.
Breathing's so important.
Just one deep breath sometimes.
Everybody at
reminds
home,
us.
let's do it. Take us through a breathing.
I like to do, charge breathing is done in the chest. It's a sharp inhale. Your collarbones should rise, and the exhale, let the air just fall out, which it will. Let the muscles relax. Then your next breath. So you do a round of 10.
And then what about... But then it makes me want to yawn.
That's okay. That's great. That's a release of energy. That's a release.
I'm sorry.
Like laughing. Like laughing.
Yeah.
Those are all just, that's a release. Crying is another release.
Uh-huh.
But you find after doing that, you know, what happens is it's kind of that fight or flight, which brings you right into the moment, but it also gets you more grounded and anchored in your own body.
Wow.
So I do a lot of things to get in my body, which helps us get out of our head. So that whether it's yoga, dance, drumming, you know.
Oh, you're big on dance, aren't you?
I'm big on dance.
Oh, and I'm going to tell you something else. This is one of the reasons I love this woman. One of her main goals in life is to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
I don't have to work that hard at it. It's hard to go to work. So I try to do the things I love even for work, so it doesn't feel like work. I really do. I've always enjoyed life. That is something I will always do. And if you're not enjoying and you're not happy, you got to change it.
I agree with you.
gotta
I think
change
you
it.
got to have fun
You
all the
have
time.
to have fun.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. But how do we get our visionaries, my Char viewers, to CharVision
get their
viewers to
joy.
get to the now and in the moment, to get rid of their worries and to have fun?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you do that if you don't know how?
If you don't know
I know
how,
people who are really don't know
gosh,
how.
Really. That's a shame. We need to really get these visionaries back on track to get back into their center. I think when we get centered in our body, we naturally have fun because we get into our joy, we get into our passion.
Do you focus on anything? Do you focus on like your third eye, or do you focus on
I use a mantra.
Right.
Some people you can use breath. You can use a candle flame and do open eye meditation.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing. That's mesmerizing.
Yeah. You can do meditation anywhere. And the idea is like taking yoga off the mat, it's taking meditation off the cushion, or because we don't want it just to be the 20 minutes in the morning or 20 minutes in the afternoon, but to actually go throughout your day and be in meditation throughout your entire day, no matter what you're doing. I'm talking to you right now. I'm in a meditation.
Yeah.
Right here
thank
and
you.
now.
Like
you are, I see
we're
it.
focused. We're
here.
in the moment.
We're here.
Sometimes I do a lot of praying and and keeping in a white light and sending the negative away.
Yeah. And that helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shielding, like calling in archangels. Archangel Michael is a good protector. I've done that before.
Can everybody use
when I parked legally, I would shield my car.
You didn't do that today, did you?
No, because today I parked legally.
Okay,
but,
good.
Los Angeles sometimes with parking and traffic,
Yeah, well.
you need white light.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you were in a hurry and you had to get somewhere. Is that it? Or?
It's happened before, and just where you just really see your car protected in white light, and actually visualize a shield around your car, like a protective bubble.
You know, when we can't find a parking space, we go Mary, Mary Parking Ferry, and we always get a parking
You always get
space.
one? And my mother's name is Mary. So,
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, how
Mother
funny.
Mary, born on Christmas Day.
She is?
I am
That's-
not kidding. It's
that's
in
so
the book,
special.
chapter 1.
I
got thrown in-
Transformational CPR.
I
love the name of this
You
book.
like the book. I got thrown in a swimming pool at the age of 3 before I could swim.
Oh, gee.
And so it's a long time ago.
Tell me the story, because I saw this on your video.
saw that on the
Tell about
video.
your mom was having company, and tell everybody.
It was, again, at the age of 3, so I hadn't yet learned to swim. I was, behind the times on that, I think. But my brother had thrown me in the swimming pool, just we're playing around and, off I go. But my mother was throwing a dinner party for my dad's relatives from Lebanon. They were in town from Lebanon, and she was making this incredible meal, like roasting lamb, and she was all done up, just gown and hair and makeup, and she heard the splash in the backyard.
Oh,
so
no.
she came running out, and I mean, I'd already, sunk to the bottom very quickly.
Oh,
so
my.
my mother, and I didn't actually remember this until about 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago. I had completely forgotten that ever happened, and I remembered it in a meditation. I was asked to come up with 3 questions. I don't remember what the questions were, but for an interview, a radio interview. And as I was in meditation, it went off like a light bulb. I just had that vision, and I was like, oh my God. And then it reminded me of these 20 pages that I had written a couple of years before that I had no idea what they were. Just one night I got inspired and started writing, and It was 20 pages that sat on my computer. And once I had that meditation, I ran to my computer and I was like, it just all came together. So it was the beginning of my book, the start of my book.
Oh.
And transformational CPR, because I was revived.
Your mom saved your
physically.
life.
Yes.
Did you have a near-death experience, or you don't?
Well, yeah, see, how do I know?
Well, you would maybe remember the angels coming to get you, but
I
you don't
don't-
have the
you know, I
maybe
don't
if you
remember.
were regressed, maybe if somebody regressed you, you might.
I'll tell you what, I have claustrophobia and this thing about suffocating. And so I don't know if those are connected.
Oh,
but
whoa.
drowning and, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's, not breathing is not good.
It's not good.
It's
And
not,
so it's
I don't like that either.
It's no surprise I went into all these things that involve breath work. So,
That's
and I've had
fascinating.
pneumonia twice, so, you know, it's something around the lungs.
Or
and
maybe even a past life you had
some kind of
weakness with that.
I would love to find out.
Yeah. Whoa.
But, you know, reviving the heart physically is one thing, but reviving the heart spiritually, for me, is really more what the book is about. It just, you know, it segued from what happened to me at 3, but my whole life has been kind of a spiritual quest.
Well,
at
I
how
would
to-
love to hear more about it. Will you come back
I
and
would
be
love
a
to.
guest again
I would love to.
on our show?
I would be honored.
Yeah, because I'd love to like really hear more in depth of how you came to this and how you've been guided to heal. And you're a psychotherapist, so
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
you've worked really hard at figuring it all out.
Yeah. Still figuring it out. Every day is a journey, you know?
It is,
I try to
right?
tune in every day to really hear not the ego.
And if you could leave our viewers and listeners with one thing, what is that you would suggest to us?
Is really listen. Follow that still small voice. And that's the whole idea of getting quiet for moments every day just with yourself. So we can turn down the volume on that ego mind that drives us and that never leads us to, you know, a place of health or wealth or well-being. But to really to go in to hear your own still small voice, which will never do anything to harm you, always serving you at your highest good.
Those are words from the wise. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, that would be
And
great.
we'll just keep having fun
Yes.
with Maya.
Yes.
Because that's her rule. And I agree. Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate you watching CharVision. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to Facebook us or tweet us, you are more than welcome. I'm still doing private readings as well as teaching people about their own intuition, because remember, intuition will take you places logic never could. Take good care and stay in the light. Thanks. Bye-bye.